Welcome back to Beat the Count. We're here at Sweet Science Boxing and MMA in Hawthorne, California. As always, I'm Chris, your boxing enthusiast, and I have with me returning to Beat the Count for a second time, ring photographer Luis Mejia. What's going on?
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. You brought someone with you this time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Anthony Herrera.
Anthony Herrera. Anthony, so I saw that you were, or are, I should say, the 2019 Western Elite Qualifier winner for 114 pounds,
yes,
right?
Flyweight division.
114 pounds, flyweight division. So for those of us that don't understand exactly what the intricacies are of the amateur boxing scene, can you help me understand what it means to win the Western Elite Qualifier and what the next steps for you are now headed towards the Olympics? This was an Olympic qualifier, right?
Yeah, for the trials.
For the trials.
Yes.
Okay. So this means by winning this, you get into the Olympic trials.
Yeah. So this is a very prestigious tournament that I won, and I'm really proud of myself for accomplishing something like this. This is an Olympic trials qualifier. So the champion and the run. This is the second one of the year, I believe. The first one was in it was the 2018 Elite National Championships. So this one was the second one. I was the champion and the runner-up for those qualifiers to get their spot in the Olympic trials. So it's myself and 3 others right now that are qualified. There's 2 other qualifiers throughout the year, so the champion and the runner-up for those tournaments will get their spot as well.
Okay, and so you'll end up in a division which has 6 people, 8 people, something like that.
Eight people maximum.
8 people maximum. Okay, and then you'll compete against those 8 individuals.
Yeah, elimination style. Yeah,
elimination style.
And December, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Lake Charles, Louisiana, December 2019.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
and the winner of that then becomes.
I still gotta do a little more research, but I believe if they win that, they still have to do a qualifier, Olympic qualifier, an international Olympic qualifier, and if they win that, then they go on the USA team.
Then they go Team USA.
Yeah. So.
Okay, and of course this is for the 2020 Olympics.
Yes. Tokyo.
And there's some topic of discussion that we've had on this show in the past about the future of boxing in the 2020 Olympics. So there's some contention between the entities that put on the Olympics as well as AIBA, or the certifying body, I guess the regulatory body that governs Olympic boxing. Do you follow all that? Are you concerned that there won't be boxing, or is that something that's not in your mind at this point and you just have to fight and keep winning?
It's not really in my mind at this point. I'm just I hear a lot of talk about that the boxing might be like a limit or whatever. They might take it out of the 2020 Olympics, but just right now I'm just doing what I have to do, just winning my tournaments, winning my fights, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm real confident that I'll make it.
How'd you meet this cat?
This guy, I just met him a few days. What was it, last week? A few days ago. A good friend of mine, Steve Oliveros, he introduced me to him. It was a Combine Sports Collective. They have strength and conditioning photography, so I'll be working with them. For my next fights and my next tournament.
Cool. So you'll be working with Andy Aguilar?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I've been seeing the photographs. You've been posting some fly photographs. In fact, if you guys have seen the flyer that I made, don't give me credit for that. That's all your beautiful pictures.
Thank you.
And this is the model right here.
Yes, sir.
So how's that been going?
It's been going great. I've just been pretty much doing what I do. I since the beginning I've been doing it because I love it, and all it's doing is bringing me more and more success because I do it with passion. I do it, from the heart. So to be able to help certain fighters, certain people that are trying to attain a certain goal, it brings me that, I guess, that pleasure of helping them. And it all at the same time opens more doors for me because people see what I do and they see that I do it genuinely, and I don't do it for a profit or because I want to profit. I'm doing it because I want to grow the sport. I want to change the way people see the sport. I want to change the way that people see photography and media in boxing, because I feel we don't get that credit.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out the wonderful photos that Luis has been taking of the many subjects that you have in boxing, you can follow him on Instagram at El Mejia Photography.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed, because I follow you on Instagram, that you've been having a lot of things going on. One of the things that happened is there's a local promotion here called Red Boxing.
Correct.
And they operate, their last show, I should say, was in Pico Rivera at the Pico Rivera Sports Arena. So you were like the photographer, right? You're the man.
Right, yeah. I don't know, like I I've always said that everything happens for a reason. I happened to be at the right place at the right time. I met Roxy and her mom. They kind of introduced me a little to NGBA. She's she's been kind of opening doors for me. And we've just been helping each other out, and it's never been like, oh, I'm gonna help you do this, you help me do that. It's just, I don't ask questions. I just do things to do them. I do them to help. I do, things because I love to do them, and it's been working for me. She's introduced me to several people, and I'm very grateful for it. And those avenues have opened more avenues, and that got me the position with Red Boxing. I was pretty much in control of the photographers and the ringside, the ringside spots and stuff. And they've actually pretty much already signed me up for the next one coming up in June.
In June, okay.
I just got an email right now for a press conference.
Oh, congratulations on that, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, I should say congratulations to you too, by the way. Your achievement was also phenomenal, I should say. And when you're talking about Roxy, you're of course referring to Ayana, who is herself an amateur standout,
number one in the world.
Yeah, number one in the world in youth, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, the youth category. So back to Olympic boxing and competing. So you're going to compete again in December.
Yeah.
Have you competed against any of the gentlemen who have already earned their spot at this point in time, or is it entirely new crew for you?
Well, yeah, this is an entirely new crew. Well, the guy I fought in the finals, he was I believe he was third place in the national championship, so he was up there, he was experienced, but we came out with the win, we did what we had to do.
Yeah. How long have you been competing as an amateur?
I've been competing since I was 13. I'm now 18, so about 5 years.
And when did you start boxing?
I started boxing at 12, but before that, I started off with kickboxing when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So I did it for about 2 years, then transitioned to wrestling, did a little bit of wrestling. Then one of my good friend of mine, his name's Paul Silva. He got me into boxing. He was my kickboxing coach. He's the one that transitioned me into boxing. So I fell in love with it ever since, and I got a lot of love for Paul.
So he convinced you to go from kickboxing to focus more on
more on boxing, and I like boxing more. It's just more to it. There's more money involved. like when as a pro.
Yeah, as a pro.
There's more competition in there. You get more recognition, whatnot. So if it wasn't for him, I'd probably be playing baseball, football. Who knows? I'd probably just be going to school. But I'm boxing now.
Yeah. So you started relatively late. So at 12, how did you get into kickboxing?
Kickboxing. Well, my dad, he was he was going to a gym in Santa Fe Springs, and he was doing jiu-jitsu, I think. He was doing jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And I would see him come home, he would have a gi on. So I was just curious as to what he was doing. I was just asking questions hey, what do they have there? I thought he was doing karate or something. I don't know. But I can't really picture my dad doing karate. It's not something that he would really do. I don't know. I just saw a gi, so I was like, oh, karate? And he was like, no, it's jiu-jitsu, and I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was. He showed me how to do a rear naked choke, so I thought it was pretty cool. Rear naked choke and I don't know, some other chokes. And I was like, hey, I want to try it out. What do they have? He said, oh yeah, you could try out kickboxing, right? So I was like, okay, I'll try kickboxing. My mom was nervous, she was like, oh, I don't want to get beat up.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know about that, but I was like, I went there and I learned a lot, and in sparring I was like beating up the other little kids, So I had fun, whatever. And yeah, that's how I got into kickboxing, combat sports in general.
Do you ever get the uncontrollable urge to just throw like a leg kick or something like that?
Oh, not anymore. Nah, I already got used to throwing punches and just moving around. It's like the legs, I don't even think about it. Just footwork. That's all I do. At first, yeah, a little bit, but nah, it's just hands now.
Did you feel like that you had to unlearn anything? Because there are some things that are different, I suppose, about kickboxing, because you have to check leg kicks and you.
Yeah, at first, it's the stance. The stance in boxing is more wider. It's like you have a wider stance than in kickboxing. Kickboxing, you gotta be prepared to check kicks. You gotta be prepared to throw kicks. So I had my stance. I guess my hands a little bit different. The footwork's different. It's two completely different sports.
So does that mean that you're a fan of like mixed martial arts and MMA
I like mixed martial arts. So I've always followed mixed martial arts.
Okay, so you follow MMA and you follow professional boxing?
Yeah, professional boxing as well, both.
Do you have any influences in professional boxing, whether they're active or not active right now?
Well, yeah, I've always looked up to Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson, man. His style and the way he thought in the ring, he intimidated his opponents before he beat his opponents before they even they even fought.
That's psychology.
So yeah, it's just the way he thinks is crazy. It's crazy. I like his mentality and his trainer Customato. You know, I like Tyson a lot. You know, I always looked up to him. I always wanted to be a heavyweight so I could be exactly like Mike Tyson. But you know, as you get older, you just realize you gotta be yourself. You know, you can't like be like anybody else. You gotta be yourself. So I like Mike Tyson, and currently I like Naoya Inoue, the monster.
Yeah.
He's he's crazy. He's like, I like him a lot too because of his power. You know, for a little guy, a little bantamweight, he has a lot of power and knockout power. He's real fast. His ring IQ is I like his ring IQ a lot, and I study him a lot. I watch a lot of his sparring videos, and sparring is crazy. You see punches coming, so I look up to him a lot too. You know, just he's just showing the world that little guys can crack too.
Yeah. Do you follow more of the little guys now, like compared to heavyweights and stuff like that? Or
I do, because I know that's kind of like the weight classes I would be at. You know, once I turn pro. Yeah, so I'm have an eye out for him for those weight classes.
Yeah, because I mean the little weight classes I think are getting a lot more exposure now. We were talking actually just before we jumped on here about the volume of boxing contests. Like there was like 3 cards on yesterday. There was one on Friday. And I was saying that, like, you have to watch boxing every, from Thursday through Sunday, basically, at this point in time. And so what I'm seeing is a lot of the little guys are getting probably more exposure than they would have gotten in the past. We're getting to see a lot more of them. And I think that's a great thing because they make some highly entertaining fights. Like you have here at the Forum on the 26th, Sorung Visai, right? Like their first fight was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
First fight was incredible. You were at that one?
Yeah, I was there.
Were you taking pictures?
Yep.
Do you have any gems to share after this? Could you show me some?
Yeah, after this I could probably show you some. Yeah.
Show me a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. Are you gonna go to this next one?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I could probably make it.
You could probably make. You gotta take pictures of that one, man. There's a lot of good fights on that card.
Yeah.
There's a unification title fight. Danny Roman and T.J. Doheny, Jesse Vargas at 154.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good fights.
Yeah, man. Jesse Vargas he was here last week. And Jesse Vargas was talking about how he's going to 154 because he has title ambitions at that weight class. And specifically, he mentioned Jamie Munguia by name, right? So he kind of said, "Hey, I'm trying to get after Munguia," And I think that's interesting because Jamie Munguia fought last night.
Right.
He had a title defense. Did you guys watch that one?
Yep.
I saw the second half of the fight. I didn't really, I was kind of busy. I didn't really have a lot of time to watch the fights, but from what I seen, I saw him. I didn't like his performance at all. He wasn't working off the jab, and I expected him to not really expected him because it's Jaime Munguia. He's kind of wild, so he needs a lot of work. He should have used his jab a lot more. He was reaching in a lot, and it was Dennis Hogan, right? Yeah, Dennis Hogan. He was countering him a lot over the top. He's not a big puncher. If he was a bigger puncher, I think he would have put Munguia to sleep or at least dropped him. So I think it was I think
tough fight, right?
He should have got the decision, Dennis Hogan.
Yeah,
I think he won.
Yeah, it's a difficult fight, and that's interesting because I remembered what Jesse Vargas was saying about pursuing titles at 154, and you look at it and you're like, man, that's a cat with a lot of experience. He's been in with a lot of top flight fighters. And Jaime Munguia is young. He showed some defensive liabilities. He was getting hit a little bit more than I think. If you're a trainer, you're probably saying, we need to work on some defensive things.
Yeah, and then
you know what I mean.
He kept his hands were always low, and I was just like, man, like
and the head movement too.
Yeah,
he needs more head movement.
Yeah, you made a point actually, Luis, before this though, which is that part of this could have something to do with fatigue or the fact that he is coming down in weight. He's a young man. He's probably bigger than
he's
bigger than 154,
really big,
right? Yeah, like a big dude, and so he may be really straining himself to sort of make that weight,
right?
Or it could be diet, it could be nutrition, it could be a lot of different things that you have to worry about.
Yeah, I think it's all of those because I mean, he's a big dude, man. He's 6'1", 6'2". I mean, to be at 154 is very difficult.
Yeah, exactly, and you could see that he seemed to tire. A little bit.
And the later rounds I saw him, he had his mouth wide open.
Yeah, he seemed to tire a little bit. But there's some other great fights on that card. So there was a big women's title fight last night, but there was also a women's title fight on that card on DAZN under Jaime Munguia. So Muncino versus Altuve for the WBO flyweight championship. And if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, it was kind of my fight of the night. So like a lot of fights happened this weekend. If you guys didn't have an opportunity to check that, it had a lot of stuff going on. It had drama, it had suspense, it had controversy. There was a knockdown that wasn't really quite a knockdown. It was more of a slip, although I would say it didn't really lead to the, the decision still went the right way. Either way, it didn't play an impact in the decision. We had a champion who was doing well, winning most of the rounds, and then got cracked in the 9th round and was kind of, had to stagger her way back to the corner right in the last second. So, and they were just mixing it up from the beginning to the end. So it's kind of different end of the spectrum from what like Claressa Shields and Christina Hammer were doing. A lot of strategy and head movement and things like that. And this was just like a war, man. Like so like if you guys get a chance to check that out on the undercard of Jamie Munguia, that was a dope fight. This actually came up a few weeks ago. You mentioned like Nancy was here and stuff like that. We were talking about women in boxing.
Right.
And one of the things I said is like there's a lot of cats is like if you just go through social media and you check out the comments and stuff like that, there are some dudes who are very insecure about women's boxing. I'm not sure why. I know that you work with female fighters.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, you watch those fights, they're bad.
Well, that was one of the biggest things for me. It's kind of what pushed me a little more to, I guess, expose the women out there more because I shot Zulema Urbina.
Okay, yeah.
And what I saw, not only in her fight, but the other fights that were on the card, with the girls, they were like savages, bro. Like, but it was just like sweet savagery. You know what I mean? Because they leave it all in the ring. You know what I mean? They leave it all in the ring. I see some male fighters that they're very, very, I guess, I don't know. It seems like reluctant to throw punches or they're scared to get hit. When the girls, they go in there, they want to kill each other. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what it seems like. But you know what I mean? They're trying to go in there and prove a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of think it has a bad reputation, but my feeling is that like there's good boxing and there's bad boxing, and that could happen for men or for women, right? Like it's about matchups, it's about what they're putting on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So like you look at it, you could get two women who are in there, they make a good matchup, they're entertaining, and it's fun to watch, right? And then you, at the same token, you could have two men who make a bad matchup, and you're like, oh, this was kind of boring. I didn't want to watch that again.
Mayweather McGregor.
Hey man, I love Mayweather McGregor. I thought that was hysterical.
But yeah, I mean, but you know what I'm saying.
Mayweather tension.
Like,
Mayweather tension.
I like the real boxing fans. They knew what was gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
and all that casual stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're like, there's no, the casual fan, the Facebook fan would have been like, oh yeah, Conor McGregor's gonna knock him out. He's gonna this and this and that. There's no way in hell that somebody that's practicing their craft for so many years and only that craft is going to get beat by somebody who does it part-time.
Exactly.
There's no way.
Trust me, we've been into that matchup like at least a dozen times on this show and kind of how silly it is. But so I know I probably beat it to death, so I won't go into it more, but I completely understand. But that's the point. There could be good matchups in boxing, there could be bad matchups in boxing. That's true for men and women. Right. If you look at it, these two ladies had a great matchup last night on that Jamie Munguia undercard. So if you guys get a chance, definitely check that out on DAZN. The other matchup on that undercard, Diego De La Hoya was the first of 3 incidents last night. Not the first. The first one I watched, but there were. I mean, I'm not sure how they took place in terms of order, but of the headbutt, exactly. Yeah. Headbutt resulting in a no decision. That happened to Grip last night. Yeah. So it happened to Diego De La Hoya, who's the first one. And this is something that, as an amateur, at certain levels, you guys still wear headgear, right?
Yeah.
But at the Olympic level, they don't anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah. And do they in the qualifiers? Are you guys wearing headgear?
Yeah, in the qualifiers, the one I just won, yeah, we're wearing headgear. I'm not sure how it's gonna work in the Olympic trials. Maybe in the final we might not fight with headgear. Yeah,
because I know obviously at some point they drop the headgear because you get into the Olympics and there isn't
headgear. That's crazy because we're fighting like for multiple days. We're not just fighting once.
Right.
So
that's what I heard too. Yeah.
Such a concern for like cuts and abrasions. Like you look at these cats who are professionals. They're on television, right? Like nationally televised fights, things on Showtime, things on DAZN. Some undefeated fighters on there and they're clashing heads, man. And they're getting cut to the point where they have to go to no decision 3 times yesterday, right? So like. how do you prepare yourself for this?
Well, that's the scary part too, because you got to think about it. If say for example Anthony's set to, to beat everybody, like you know what I mean, and then God forbid, one of these guys does something dirty, where does that put him? You know what I mean? That's what I don't like. Like if you're gonna, I would understand you take the headgear off before you get to the main cards or to that last stretch of the Olympic trials. You put the headgear on because you don't want these guys to get cut.
Yeah. But
they're doing it backwards. That to me doesn't make sense. I would rather you protect your Olympic fighter versus not protecting him towards the end.
Yeah, you make a good fight. You have to fight multiple times in one night. You could win a fight, have an abrasion, right, or a cut or something like that.
There's a lot of different fighters with different styles. They're sloppy, smothering themselves, so it'll be easy to get. Yeah, they lead in with their head, so it could be easy to get cut with the headbutt or something.
So do you have to take steps to prepare for that, even as an amateur now? As a standout amateur?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm gonna have to do is just keep my distance. If I ever come across that in the trials. So I'm just gonna have to do that.
Just pay attention to who that opponent is.
Yeah, just pay attention, study them, and see what they do, if they're dirty or not. So
because I even have pictures of fighters when they're they go to punch and they miss a punch and they're coming back with the elbow. Like you can I've caught some pictures where they miss with their hand, so they follow up with the elbow, and I have a picture with the elbow on his face. Like I'm like, what the hell? Like
that's what Ricky Hatton did, right?
Yeah,
I think that happened in one of his fights.
They do stuff like that, and I mean because they figure they're gonna give me a warning first, and then they deduct a point. So at least I can get away with it as many times as I can until they take a point or warn me for it, and that's the shitty part.
Yeah, and the thing about last night's instances that's really unfortunate is the fact that you watch this stuff. And they're really not intentional. It's not like anybody was doing anything dirty last night. In most of these situations, it's happening in the first round, second round. There's two guys who are throwing punches. Their heads come together. And that's it. You know what I mean? So it wasn't roughhousing tactics or tomfoolery or anything like that. I know that was an interesting choice of words, huh? Do you get a lot of tomfoolery in boxing? I think I just... No? Oh man, so that was the DAZN card. I think I skipped the card on Friday night. There was Lomachenko, who absolutely demolished Anthony Corolla. Yeah. Corolla, he's not a Toyota, just so you guys remember. He's not a Corolla, Anthony Corolla. But I think it was interesting. I wasn't very familiar with Anthony Corolla's background, and so I didn't know all that stuff about him. Did you guys hear all that stuff about him, trying to stop the robbery and then all that stuff? No. So Anthony Corolla, So he's a former world champion, but even before that, his first title fight, the first time he was going to fight for a title, he came home and his neighbors were being burglarized. So there were some cats in the yard next door, and he looked over the fence and seen them in the yard, and he went and gave chase to these individuals, right? So he jumped the fence. This is 30 days before his first title fight. And he catches one of them, and the other one threw a brick at his head and fractured his skull. And he went to the hospital. They told him he was never going to fight again because of the damage that he took to his skull. Less than a year later, he went and competed and actually won that title, right? So he won his first world title at that. But I wasn't aware of any of that.
Me neither.
Yeah. I heard all that and was like, that's a trip, dude. What a good Samaritan.
Right. I mean, that's why life pays you back.
What's that?
Life pays you back. Yeah. That happened to him. He got the title.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's also a good story.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's sad because, you'll hear a lot about the mismatches. We were kind of talking about it before this. Is man, why this matchup? Because Lomachenko, specifically now that his shoulder's healed, he was using that right hand. Obviously threw that knockout on him. It was a vicious knockout. He was in control the rest of the fight. There was even a moment of confusion where he thought the fight was going to be stopped. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I saw when he kicked
he thought the fight was stopped, jumped up in the corner, and the commission was in the ring and stuff like that.
I didn't really watch
Jack
the fight.
Reese kicked him out.
Some highlights. So
Oh, man, Jack Reese was pissed.
He's like, get out.
So here's what happened. So Corolla was taking a lot of punishment against the ropes. And
basically like a standing 8 count, right? Something like that.
Well, what happened was if the bottom rope wasn't there, he kind of sat down and his butt caught the second rope, and it kept him standing. Because he was held up by the rope, the referee called it a knockdown. Right? So he stepped in and called it a knockdown. The reason being that if the rope wasn't there, he would have fell. Right? So referee called a knockdown, Jack Reese, but he had to step in the middle of the action. So Loma thought they stopped the fight, right? And he goes running up to the corner and is like up in the corner. The commission jumps in the ring. Jack Reese is starting to count, and he turns around and is like, "What the hell are you guys doing in the ring?"
He's like, "Get out!"
He's like, "Get out of the ring."
Yeah.
It was a knockdown, so he had to kick him out of the ring.
Yeah, I saw
You know
that.
what I mean? Interesting thing, but I understand the mismatch, but it's not really Loma's fault. Like, Loma expected to be competing for a title, his third title in this same weight division. Gentleman broke his hand, so they had to bring it. They brought in the number one contender, the mandatory in this case, which is Anthony Herrera, who is also a former world champion. So he's not, it's not entirely like a.
Not entirely.
He's
tomato
just
can,
not.
yeah.
He's just not Tank Davis, and
Right.
he's not Mikey Garcia, and so all these people that we want to see Loma fight.
Right.
Coincidentally, he also wants to fight Mikey
calling
Garcia.
out Mikey Garcia.
Calling him out, right?
That'll be a good
Yeah.
fight.
He's
That's what I
calling him
wanna
out.
see.
I'd like to see
That's
it.
what I'd like to
timing,
see.
timing versus speed, right?
Yeah, but I think it's got to be hard. I mean, who knows if Mikey could even make that weight anymore?
True.
135.
Maybe 140. Loma moves up to 140.
Yeah, I mean, he seems adamant about not moving up to 140 though. For sure. Like, I read an article very recently where he was talking about, like, he wants to be undisputed at 135,
Right.
defend his belt twice, and retire. Like, that's like what he wants. He's like 5 fights away from not even wanting to box anymore. It's like, what is, like, he'll have less than 20 fights on his record.
You need to tell Bob to cut his check a bit.
What's that?
Tell Bob to cut his check a bit.
Cut
That
his
way he can
check?
stay around for a little while longer.
Get him to stay around. Jeez, did you guys see Mikey's gonna fight that exhibition for the charity
Right.
event?
Morales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't.
You didn't see
it.
that?
Yeah.
He's gonna fight Eric Morales.
Eric. Oh my god.
1 minute rounds. You guys see that?
Well, wait.
I don't think the weight matters.
Right.
I
They're
don't think so.
four 1 minute rounds for a charitable cause. Yeah,
That's
there's
cool.
actually someone, a local individual who was shot recently. They're gonna raise money for it,
Oh,
but he's
yeah.
gonna do it by fighting an exhibition with Eric Morales.
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I can't give him a hard time. It's a charity thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of. Didn't Mike Tyson do that too? Where he punched the guy and then held him up.
You know what, dude? When Mayweather fought Tension and everybody was giving him a hard time, I said, hey, look, a lot of retired dudes do it. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson went and fought an exhibition.
Oscar
that
De
one you're
La Hoya,
talking
right?
about. Oscar De La Hoya fought Shaq.
Shaquille
He
O'Neal.
fought
Oh, yeah,
Shaq.
that's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
Didn't Jones do that? Roy Jones.
Roy Jones basically just retired like last year.
Right. Shit.
yeah.
But like, no, yeah, Oscar fought Shaq. Mike Tyson went and fought that dude you're
Yeah.
talking about where he was going to knock him out and then he held
He
him up.
held him up. Yeah.
Dude was wearing headgear like some tough man
Yeah.
style stuff.
That guy was big.
He was.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali fought that wrestler.
Right.
Yeah, fought the wrestler, dude.
Didn't Mayweather
Yeah.
fight in WWE?
What's
he
that?
fought the Big Show?
Yeah,
He fought the Big Show, yeah.
He fought the Big Show.
Yeah.
Rocky fought Thunder Lips.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Actually,
You remember that? You remember that? Rocky versus Thunder Lips. That was yeah, right. Hell yeah. They all do the exhibitions, man. I
Right.
can't give them a hard time. They're making money. They're getting paid. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Can't hate on someone for getting paid.
what about that Barboza fight, man?
Barbosa.
I thought it was gonna be a lot more challenging, for Barboza, but dude, he mopped him up pretty good. man.
Alvarado.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Mike Alvarado a lot, and he's one of we actually had 2 fights back when Mike Alvarado made his comeback for the first time, and he's like on the untelevised undercard, and he had a really rough and rugged fight, like a super rough fight. And I checked that fight out, and I was like, you know what? He took a lot of damage, and he's got a lot of age, a lot of miles on him. He's been in a lot of wars, and I just want what's best for Mike, like health-wise, right? And I don't know that it's a good idea for him to come back. Then he had this stunning knockout performance, like on ESPN shortly thereafter, where like he went and knocked a dude out that's like a knockout of the year type candidate last year. And I was like, whoa, that was. And he was like, yeah, this is I'm gonna fight down here at 140. That's what we're doing. We're gonna be down at 140. But like after last night, I look and I'm like,
Well, I mean,
I just don't want to
Barboza's
see any
no
harm
slouch.
come to him.
Yeah, I mean, Barboza's no slouch. I mean, he's
No, definitely not.
He's actually he hasn't been getting the I guess the exposure that I think he deserves too, because he's a great fighter.
Definitely,
you know what I mean? He's a great fighter. I've known him for a little bit. Cool dude, and yeah, man. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna pretty much mop up Alvarado like that, but I mean, I wasn't surprised either. You know what
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not surprised by it. It's just more kind of sad making. You
It's
know what I
kinda like-
mean? Like,
kinda-
it's kind of sad making. You look at it, you're like, I don't want to see that stuff.
Because the same thing kind of happened with Brandon Rios, right? Because
Yeah.
he kind of made that comeback, and then boom, and then it's like, wow, like,
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like,
uh,
I think for some of these guys, like for me, you've been watching them a long time. You kind of, I don't want to say idolize them, but like you admire them in a
Right.
certain way. Like, it's kind of like watching Roy Jones. You know what I mean? Like Roy Jones fought until he was almost 50. I love Roy Jones. I used to watch Roy Jones in his prime. Actually, Roy Jones Jr. is probably the number one reason that I'm into boxing today.
Me
I
too.
mean, I've been around boxing my whole life, like all the way back to the Forum and stuff like that, the fight nights at the Forum in Inglewood. But the truth is, if I chronicle where I really started getting into boxing, I watched a pay-per-view, and that pay-per-view was Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, right? And I was
Right.
like, okay, boxing's kind of dope. I'm like, and then I watched Roy Jones Jr. rap his way out to the ring like a few months later, and I don't know if you guys ever seen that one. You ever seen that?
Forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
remember
see that where he raps it like he
Yeah.
literally has the microphone and just puts on a whole dance performance like
Right.
he's Apollo Creed all the way out to the ring, and then he knocks someone out. He's probably the number one reason that I'm into boxing today is Roy Jones Jr. So when you see him and he's kind of older and he's past his prime and he's fighting these cats who are good, they're good fighters, you know what I mean? But they're not world class level, not like what you're accustomed to seeing from Roy.
Right.
And you see these guys get knocked out. It's just kind of hard.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's sad
Just
for
like
the
Hopkins,
fans.
yeah.
You know.
Like the same thing with Hopkins when he got
Same
knocked
thing with
out of the
Hopkins.
ring. You know, and I was like, damn, like just call it quits, man. Like
know.
we don't have to go
The
out like
oldest,
that.
world champion, right?
Oh,
How
definitely.
Yeah.
How old is he?
Definitely. Dude, he was pushing
Like,
50.
Yeah, he was like 40.
He was pushing 50 and was like, here's the thing. Bernard Hopkins was actually fighting at a world class. There's a big difference. Like Roy kind of fell off and was doing some fights like locally, some fights in Australia, but they're not with like world class opposition. I have to give Bernard Hopkins credit. The man was fighting for titles at that age and
Right.
winning, right? Like he's beating Jean Pascal. He's fighting to a decision Sergey Kovalev. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like he was
right.
actually fighting at a really high level
Yeah.
all the way up until he's almost 50 years old. But then you look at that last fight and you're just like, just one too many.
Yeah.
It's just one too many, right? Like if he just stopped one fight before that.
Just
That
gotta
would
know
be
when to
perfect, yeah.
retire.
Yeah, I know. So like I'm not an advocate of telling fighters when to retire,
Right.
because I think it's within them. It's like what they know how to do. But at the same time, I can also say like it's hard to watch Mike Alvarado get beat up at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think it's like in every sport. Every sport has that where you don't want to give it up. Look at Brett Favre in football. Like he didn't want to go out.
Yeah,
you know what I
just
mean?
didn't
Randy
wanna go out
Couture.
Yeah, Randy Couture. You know, what I
Michael
mean?
Jordan and the Wizards, you know?
Ortiz and Liddell. You know, it's like
Dude, what
they're-
is that? What
yeah,
is
I was like, man, like just give it up already. You know, but it's just that's what they do. You know what I mean? So
I'm not
it's-
even gonna go in on that either. I thought that was silly.
right.
For a lot of
Yeah.
fighters, that's all they know too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's all they know.
that's true. It's
Yeah.
true. It's totally all they know.
Or who knows what situation they're in. You gotta
Yeah.
fight. to-
Financial situations,
financial
like fighters.
situations.
A lot of times, I mean, these cats, they're young. Like you're a young man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you turn pro, even someone like Jaime Munguia, he's only 22 years old. He's a world champion, but he's only 22. I was a stupid kid at 22. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like who
Yeah.
knows what I'd be doing if I had like money and world titles and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so. But also on that card, you guys watch Zurdo
Zurdo
Ramirez make his debut at 175.
I actually didn't see that. I
I
was
actually didn't watch
driving in
any
the
of the
process.
fights for some reason. I always watch the fights, but this weekend I just didn't watch
Dude.
any of the fights.
So Karpensi, his opponent, Zurdo's opponent at 175. Dude came in, had a proper black eye. He said his brother gave to him coming into the ring. He only had a 4-week training camp because he has a full-time job. You know what I mean? So he's kind of at a disadvantage already fighting someone like Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo put him away. He quit between rounds, like after the fourth. I think it was between the fourth and fifth. So he quit. The referee came over, Ray Corona, and was like, "Hey, do you want me to stop the fight?" Homeboy said, "Yeah, I want you to stop the fight." And then he turned to his dad and he's like, "My ribs are broke." He just told his dad straight up, "My ribs are broke." And then he told the referee it happened in the first 30 seconds, or he told the commentator it happened in the first 30 seconds of the first round. He hit me with a body shot and
damn.
broke my ribs, and he was trying to hang and couldn't hang.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Fighting through the pain right there.
Yeah.
Fighting through the pain. But so that's Zurdo's debut at 175. He said he wants all the 175-pound champions. So Sergey Kovalev and everybody else, Bivol, all those dudes at 175. It'll be interesting matchup.
Yep.
All right, let's see. What other cards do we get into? Shields. I mentioned it because I was talking about the WBO flyweight fight, but we didn't actually talk about Shields and Hammer.
That jab. I heard her saying that jab was legit. Like she has a.
I think she was just being kind. Did you guys watch that Shields and Hammer?
Shields being.
Yeah, you were watching movie. I had them both going at the same time.
Yeah, I just saw some highlights too. I think I was watching the last round. I think Shields hurt Hammer. I think she hurt.
Shields hurt Hammer. I would say like the last 2 rounds of that fight.
Yeah, that's all I've seen.
I would not have been surprised if they stopped it. So Christina Hammer made this motion twice, like once in the 9th round and once in the 10th, where she took a shot and then she extended her lead hand out and turned her head to face away from Claressa Shields, like, doing one of these guarding poses, like, oh no, right? And I looked at that and was like, some refs will stop a fight right there. You're basically looking like you're about to turn and run.
To turn your back.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna turn your back and run. Like, so she definitely laid it on her. She was very sound defensively. Claressa Shields was a lot of head movement. I think she was trying to go for that knockout. She was very wide stanced and flat footed for almost the whole fight. She was standing right there in front of her, just using a lot of head movement and stuff like that. So it looked like she was trying to get her out of there, but.
Yeah, she looked pretty. She looked pretty slick, man. She was a lot of head movement.
A lot of head movement, a lot of defense. Yeah. She called herself afterwards the greatest female boxer of all time.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. The greatest women's boxer of all time.
The GOAT.
I don't know about that. She's good. She's definitely
good.
very good. But there's a lot of also very good female boxers. I mean, I'm a big fan. You guys ever watch Ann Wolf highlights?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some highlights.
You see some Ann Wolf highlights? Mm-hmm. Dude, you guys got to watch highlights. You like Mike Tyson? Go watch highlights of Ann Wolf.
Where she folded that girl like a chair, man. Dude. I was like, God
the
damn.
overhand, right?
Yeah, that overhand, right? Yeah.
That giant chick? Oh, my God.
She fell back like.
I was dirty.
And
I was like, damn.
Dude. I'm really just being biased because I like watching Ann Wolf fight. And I also think she did an exceptional job as a trainer. Like, she trained James Kirkland. I actually brought this up. I'm surprised she doesn't train more men because James Kirkland was always, kind of successful when he was fighting with Ann Wolf. He experienced a lot less success when he wasn't. Coach Marco, one of the guys who trains here and owns this gym, the trainers here had mentioned, like, she might just be too hard on you. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just like, oh, man. We're like, what's training camp like?
Training camp? Yeah. For me, it's I'm used to it already. It is tough though. I think the weight cut is probably the toughest part. I think the dieting, because I like eating a lot. A lot of people like eating. Who doesn't like it? They like eating what they want. So that's a tough part. But the sparring too. I spar 3 times out of the week. Every week. So I'm sparring with pros already. So I'm getting really good sparring. So that's probably
you're in the right place, man.
Yeah,
LA's where it's at for good sparring.
Yeah, Southern California has the best sparring.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And the best strength and conditioning.
Yeah. And the best photographer.
Thanks.
Oh man, but so when you're talking about the weight cut, you guys can't cut in the same way that the pros do, right? Because you're weighing in, you're fighting on the same day, so it's not like you don't have time necessarily to hydrate up.
Oh, you don't.
Up to 10 pounds beyond where you were at. So you're cutting weight, but you're also having to keep it off in a real way, not like pros do where it's water weight and they're rehydrating, right?
Yeah, the way I cut the weight, I still kind of do it that way. I try not to do it that way because like you said, we can't really rehydrate. We're fighting the same day, so it's like that gets really tough. Like when I was in Reno, I had to maintain the weight for a whole week, My division, the elite division, it's 19 to 40-year-olds or 18 to 40. We had to weigh in Sunday. I had to register Sunday and I had to weigh in. There was a general weigh-in at 4 p.m. So, yeah, it was tough. I had to work out in the morning. I didn't really eat anything or drink anything, which is something, and next time I know now to, I'm going to drink something. That way I sweat it out more. And I worked out and I checked my weight. I didn't lose anything. That was the first workout. I worked out like 3 times that day. And it was tough. The second time I had to go to a steam room with the sauna suit, and it was bad. I was like, it was really tough when I got out of there. I was like, Well, I'm not gonna lie, like I shed a little tear. I was like, oh man, I'm crying. No, I'm not crying. it was hard.
So do you feel like at your peak when you're competing, like, or is there some fatigue?
No, there is some
something-
fatigue. Yeah, dehydration impacts your performance a lot. It does. The first, because I weighed in Sunday, and then they did the draw 6 p.m. and I found out I was fighting Monday the next day. So which meant that like I had to weigh in at 7 a.m. the next day again, and the fights didn't start till like 6 p.m. I was the second bout, so I had a lot of time to rest a little bit in my room, whatever. So when I fought in there, when I was fighting, it was only 3-minute rounds. I sparred like 6 rounds, 8 rounds. I don't feel tired, but I'm rehydrated. I'm not cutting weight like I do, as I was doing for this tournament. So when I was in there, I felt good the first round. The second round came, and that's when I started like cramping up from the weight cut that that I was doing. So I was like cramping. I felt like tired, and I was like kind of like, why am I feeling tired? But I found out like, oh, this is the weight cut. That's what it is. So I fought Monday, got the bye Tuesday, fought Wednesday to Saturday, and it was really tough. I had to, it was hard making the weight. I was just making the weight.
So how many days does the tournament span? It spans that whole week?
Yeah, the competition was from Monday to Saturday. The finals was Saturday.
And in order for you to pick up the win, how many fights do you have between Monday and Saturday?
I had four.
Five
four,
fights?
four. I had to fight Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was 4 days to advance to the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a total fight, and they're each 3-minute rounds?
Yeah. So I fought
Wow,
about
man.
45 minutes on total, or 43 minutes. I got the knockout the first day in the third round with the body shot.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fighting, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And
It is, dude. Like I was, have you guys seen the tournament that Paulie Malignaggi and Ricky Hatton are part of in England that they do every once in a while? I forgot the name of it. Ultimate Boxer. Have you guys watched the Ultimate Boxer?
I thought you were talking about the Paulie Malignaggi bare knuckle. That's why I started laughing.
Looking forward to that.
That's why I started laughing because I was like, oh shit.
Man, well, hold on. Let's get on to that because like the tournament, I was just gonna say they have these pros fight multiple times in a day. They fight 3 rounds, like 3-minute rounds. Like
They do that in I think it's Glory Kickboxing too, right? Or they have like an 8-man tournament or something like that.
Yeah, so
pretty crazy.
they get a bunch of pros, like 8 pros in tournament-style
Yeah,
brackets going against each other, and they're fighting 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds to see who could win. It's actually really interesting. I've watched the first 2, and I thought that they were highly entertaining, mostly because the rounds are so short, and this is probably true also for you as an amateur fighting 3-minute rounds. Like, if you go down a round, like if you lose a round,
Yeah, you're like
in a bad way. Like, you have to make up a lot.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to win
right.
those next 2 rounds.
Exactly. There's not really a timer. Like sometimes you watch people like Lomachenko or these cats, and they have a feeling out process, right? Where there's a couple rounds where they spend just kind of getting intel
just
or
taking your
downloading
time, being
stuff.
patient.
Yeah, but like you can't really do that.
Nah, you're like rushed.
Yeah. You can't really do that. So like you check out these guys who are now in a situation where it's like, oh, we only have 3 rounds. There's no feeling out process. We got to go out there and just bang it out for 3 rounds. So it actually makes for some super entertaining fights. But dude, to your point, the Paulie Malignaggi bare knuckle thing you guys were just talking about. Did you just see those photos of those cats who came out of the bare knuckle boxing match? Did you see that? What their faces look like?
That was horrible.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, I shot. I think I told you I shot Beck Rawlings.
Oh, really?
For her fight 2 fights ago, and then I saw her fight again, and I literally seen her spit her tooth out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, have
That's
you
why
guys
she
seen
has
those
that gold
photos?
tooth.
I gotta see if I can find these. I
Yeah.
gotta see. Here, let me see.
You could put in there Beck Rawlings spits tooth out, and they'll show you like a little clip of it, and it's it's gnarly.
See these images, like they release these.
Yeah,
These
the guy's
two
name
photos.
was Artem Lobov.
What was his name?
Artem, Artem,
Artem.
Artem Lobov or Lobov. Or
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yeah, like this right here,
Look at that, dude.
dude. Let me share. Did he win or did he look? Because the other guy looks just like this. Like
I think he won.
Yeah, like both cats look exactly like this. Let me share this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think Paulie slapped him or something, or
Yeah,
He
let me
slapped
get-
him, right?
I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it on the TV monitor.
he
Look
did.
at this, guys.
yeah. Yeah, that's gnarly, man.
Yeah, and like the thing that's crazy about it is both cats look just like that.
Right.
Look at how many abrasions there are in Homeboy's face right there.
Right.
Look,
And-
I saw 3 fights stopped yesterday just because
Less than
a
that,
cut
right?
like that one right in the middle right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they're fighting with gloves. These
And they're
guys are
fighting
fighting
with
bare
gloves.
knuckles.
think it's easier
It's
to
nuts.
break your wrist too, right? As well.
I'm
well,
sure.
Well, they can wrap their hands. They wrap their hands really well, but they just can't wrap the knuckle.
So I saw Paulie Malignaggi obviously signed up for this. I was like, oh, I'm excited. I'm going to watch bare knuckle boxing. Then this pictures came out, and I was like, what, dude? I don't think I want to see that. I don't think so, bro.
It's almost like Mortal Kombat and shit, you know? Like,
I don't think I want to watch it.
Fatality.
Like, I mean, I have to. Like, I'm kind of obligated, right?
Right,
I have
yeah.
to watch it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
you got
Paulie.
to.
Like, I can't not watch it. But that's like ridiculous.
and the thing is, they have animosity because Artem is friends with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know,
Paulie did
Yeah.
slap.
he slapped him, yeah.
Paulie gave him a proper slap, dude.
And what do you call it? He called it a little, like a bitch slap because
Yeah,
it
he
was a little
called it-
small one. It was just
It
like
was,
a
yeah.
smack, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, next time I'm going to hit you harder.
Dude, I don't know, man. This is going to be hard for me to watch. I didn't even watch the fight. I'm just seeing the aftermath here. This is gnarly. MMA fighters
did
don't
see
even
the
look
fight.
like
The
that.
fight was pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You watched it?
Yeah, it was really good.
It's brutal, right?
Entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think both of them were just like wobbled.
How many rounds do they fight?
Three rounds, right?
They fight 3 rounds?
Something like 3
Or five. No,
fight
five
five
rounds.
5 rounds.
Yeah, 5 rounds.
5 2-minute rounds?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Did you guys watch this? You did?
It was fun. It was a fun fight. Both of them were getting rocked.
Whoa.
Like, really bad.
That's gnarly. The embrace, I was, oh, man. I don't know. I can't keep looking at this.
And then the fights that they stop in boxing because there's like
That's
not
what
even
I'm
a
saying.
quarter of
Like,
that. And it's like,
literally,
come on,
that
man.
we were
like,
talking. You guys remember we were talking about Diego De La Hoya 3 fights
Yeah.
stopped last night? Every one of those cuts was like
Not
worse than the fights that were stopped last night
yeah.
because of a cut, man. That was gnarly. So
I see
anyway,
you
I think
got
I'm
a-
obligated to watch Paulie fight bare knuckle, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to.
Right.
Ah,
I see you got Joey Spencer on there. He fought last night too, or Friday night, right?
what's
Was
that?
it Friday night that he fought? Joey Spencer.
Oh, Joey Spencer. Yeah, he fought on the Peter Quillen card. So
Right.
this is another one. Peter Quillen, Caleb Truax ended in the second round in Caleb's hometown. Unfortunately, in front of his hometown crowd, he took a headbutt, got a pretty deep cut over his eye. No decision. The referee or the doctor decided to stop the fight. So fighters didn't have anything to say about it in this case.
Right.
But that's got to be unfortunate. I can't imagine. The crowd was very pro Caleb. Like, you watch it, and there's obviously it's his hometown crowd.
course.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people came out to check him out, so it's unfortunate. Joey Spencer did fight. He went the distance with the guy. He had to go 6 rounds, you know. But, I mean, he worked him. Yeah, like,
Right.
he worked him over. Pretty good. But overall, the undercards for all of these events were kind of uneventful, I guess. I think Jaime Munguia had at least they had the WBO flyweight women's title fight that I thought was very good, but you know, between the headbutts and the cuts and you know, Alvarado getting knocked out in 3 rounds and all this
Right.
different stuff. Sad. All the undercards made me sad. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I was very disappointed too. I think that's one of the reasons why I was kind of watching the Zone and UFC at the same time.
Oh, the UFC fights were real good.
Those were badass.
There's
There's
main
a
event and the main
UFC
event
fight
were
on?
good.
Yeah, those UFC
Yeah.
on Saturday, man. Those fights were pretty badass.
The co-main
Uh,
event.
The
that was best fight of the night.
both.
Yeah.
You know,
Who fought?
Kevin Gastelum versus Israel
Adesanya? Something like that?
Adesanya or something like that. Yeah, Adesanya was the one that fought
Anderson Silva, no?
Anderson Silva, and put on a show, man.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think Kevin Gastelum was gonna have anything for him, but he actually rocked him several times, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, that was a badass fight.
See, this is where like I'm totally out of my depth right there. It's funny. I could talk boxing all day long, and as soon as someone mentions MMA, I'm like, I'm not even sure what these people's names are and stuff like that. Like, I know Conor McGregor. No, man. Like,
Hey, that's why we're called Combat Sports.
I know the Combat Sports Collective. Combat Sports Collective.
Yeah.
The full package. But no, like, seriously, like, the number of guys I know in MMA, they're probably all either old. Like, I know, like, Chuck Liddell and those cats, like, when you were talking about that, I'm like, I know exactly who. I remember that fight at the Forum and everything
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Tito Ortiz.
That's when boxing started, bro. What the hell?
You haven't seen boxing since Oscar fought. Sugar Ray Leonard. Man.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like Claressa Shields brought up that topic of the GOAT, you know, where she was like, I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest women's boxer ever.
No.
And
I'm like, no.
no, wow, straight up, huh?
Yeah.
No. But Claressa Shields kind of made that, and I started thinking, like, you know, because everybody calls Sugar Ray Robinson the GOAT in boxing. Like, almost everybody you talk to, they're like, Sugar Ray Robinson wears his best boxer that there's ever been. I'm gonna have to do a lot of detailed digging into it. Like how many Sugar Ray Robinson fights have I seen start to finish? Like probably none. Like I've seen all kinds of highlights. You see Jake LaMotta, right? Like the fourth fight with Jake LaMotta, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, and most of the highlights are actually from later in his career because a bunch of the fights that he had early on aren't even on tape or anything like that. Like you can't watch them, right? So
he had a good resume, didn't he?
I guess, but like it depends on what you mean. Like there are other Hall of Famers on his resume, but probably not as notable as like the amount and the names of the Hall of Famers who are on, say, Ali's resume, right? Like you go down Ali's list and there's all kinds of cats in the Hall of Fame who are super big name fighters too. Like everybody knows who they are. Like everybody knows George Foreman.
Like a Valero.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of boxers out there, man. I mean,
yeah,
it just depends on who you ask. I
think, it depends on who you ask. I just hear Sugar Ray Robinson a lot. That's why I was like, I got to look into this. I got to see more about this. I'm going to make a video just on that. Is Sugar Ray Robinson the GOAT?
Right.
You know what I mean? This topic, because it comes up in every sport. Like it comes up in basketball. It's like every time you turn on the
LeBron
TV, that's all you see
Kobe.
is LeBron, Kobe, or MJ.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's any sports channel. That's all it's about.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron or MJ? Give me your thoughts on LeBron and MJ in the comments down below. No,
Right.
just don't do that. Please don't do that.
What does MJ say? Oh, how about all these rings?
Six championships.
Right. So
Yeah, you can't really. I don't know. In boxing, there's so many titles floating around today that you can't just go based on.
Well, yeah. Now you got.
There's like 15 titles. I can't even keep track of them all.
And then you got belts within belts, like the silver belt, and I was tripping out on that. I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
Well, we were just talking. Actually, we were talking about the WBA and Jojo Diaz because he's going to fight on that undercard on May 4th. You're going to that fight, right? Canelo and Jacobs. So Jojo Diaz is going to fight on that undercard, and there was talk about him fighting Andrew Cancion, but that can't happen because of the rematch clause with Machado, right?
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about that Cancion fight that took place in Fantasy Springs where he picked up that belt? Tank Davis fought here at the Dignity Health Sports Park on the same day.
StubHub?
Yeah, I went to that one too. I know. I should just call it StubHub, right?
Everybody's like, what? Where?
What is Dignity Health Sports Park? But Tank Davis fought here. Those are both WBA 135-pound belts.
Right. Like regular belt.
Regular versus super
champion.
So Tank Davis was fighting for the WBA on competing networks on the same day. Tank Davis was fighting for the WBA Super 135-pound title, and Andrew Cancion was picking up the WBA regular 135-pound title.
It was 135?
Yeah.
Yeah.
135, right?
No, it was 30, I believe. It was 130.
Are you sure? Because
yeah, super featherweight.
I'm going to look it up now.
Yeah,
I thought it was 135. Let me see.
Yeah, it should be 130.
Because JoJo fights at 135 now. He fights it. He moved from 26 to 30? Okay, that makes more sense because I was like, how do they have these two belts on the line on the same day? But it's still the regular title, right?
It's without the N. Take the N off.
Cancion.
Cancion. Right there.
Let's see.
In Spanish, that song.
Oh, you're right. They are, super featherweight. In Spanish, that song. You know my Spanish is lousy, bro.
Actually, you spelled it.
You're right. It is the world super featherweight title. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I stand corrected. I still have confusion about the real world championship and the regular though, because like Pacquiao, right? Like Pacquiao has the regular belt, right? He's the WBA regular champion. That's the belt. He doesn't have it like the super champion. Now I have to look it up.
And then there's an interim champion too, right?
Sometimes there's an interim champion. He didn't pop up. Did I spell his name wrong?
Right there.
It's PAC. It's
The
PAC.
third, the fourth one.
He's the fourth one?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
There you go.
Pac-Man. WBA World Welterweight. But he's not the actual WBA champion, right? So let me check out the champions list. Here, I'm doing all this bouncing around. Let me show you guys. I'll share the box rec with you guys. TV monitor. Let me go to the champions page because this really tells you everything you need to know about all the titles. Okay, so here's all 112 titles. No, I don't know how many are actually there. It's a grip, though.
Sounded good, though.
What's that?
Sounded good.
I know. It looks like 112 titles.
Good guess.
What's that? Let me see. All right. Welterweight.
King Taco
So,
champion.
yeah, look. Check it out. So, Manny's not really up in here. So, let's see. These are... So, the WBA champion. Yeah. So, Manny's not really in here. So, Manny's title is like a regular title. It's not like a super title, I guess. See, it's hard to keep track of even for me.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a
So,
lot, dude.
You might be able to go based off rings in the NBA, but you can't be going based off belts here in
Right.
boxing.
So many belts.
There's like 5, right? No, 4. There's WBA, WBO, WBC, IBF.
There are 4 sanctioning bodies that are recognized by the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So those are the 4 that are recognized. There's other ones, like
What's the IBO? What is that?
it's another sanctioning body. Just like here locally, we have like GBO, and if you go to Florida, they have the NBA. Like there's a bunch of different sanctioning bodies around who authorize belts and things like that. But there are only 4 that are actually recognized by the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So these are the 4 sanctioning bodies recognized by the International Boxing Hall of Fame: the WBC, WBO, IBF, WBA. So IBO is they're probably the next closest to being recognized by the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But so there will be yet another champion. Look, Anthony Joshua cleaning up down here. Usyk. But it's hard to keep track of. Oh, man. Who are the champions in your division? Do you know them all? I'll quiz you.
115. The champions in my division?
Who would all the champions be if we went to your weight class?
You're supposed to say it doesn't matter because I'm going to take them out.
Well, it really doesn't.
I'll quiz you.
I'm taking them out. The future right here, the future.
No, it's always
champion.
changing. It's always like changing. There's always the next champion. Like,
You know what's funny? The only one of these that I could actually do is heavyweight because they're all Anthony Joshua except Deontay Wilder.
And even then,
There's no way. If you
even then,
quiz
that's
me on-
questionable.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying that if you actually quizzed me on all these, okay, I probably would have got this one. I would have got middleweight. I would have forgot Tony Harrison on super welter. Let's see.
what, flyweight.
Flyweight. Here we go. Those guys.
Oh, it's super flyweight. I knew it was
Sorang Visai. Yeah, so it's Sorang Visai. Yeah.
There's only 2 I know.
Which 2?
The Jorena Gajas and the Usyk Skill Wang.
Yeah. Sorang Visai.
Yeah.
I never try and say that part of it. I'll just call him Sorang Visai. Oh, man. Pretty interesting, but a lot of fights coming up, a lot of action coming this way.
Who's the WBA champ at bantamweight? It's vacant.
The WBA champ? Yeah, it looks like it.
Wasn't it Nonito Donaire? I think he was a super champion.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And then the Monster was a regular champion. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Well, Donaire's over here. WBA. So Donaire has the WBA. Right here. This one is IBO.
It's
Yeah,
IBO.
so the IBO is vacant. Difficult, man. We should put out a cash reward for anybody who knows all the champions on this list. What do you guys think? We'll make a competition out of it. But you have to know which champion is part of which belt, too. It can't just be the 5. You have to know which one fits
I try to
where.
memorize them, but it's always changing. There's always a new
There's
one.
no way. There's no way to do it. You would have to dedicate as much time to memorizing this list as you do to amateur boxing or boxing as a craft. Oh, man. So, what do you guys think? Anything else? I think we talked about it all.
Pretty much.
Hit all the fights. We hit all the talking points. Where can we follow you guys at?
Follow me on Instagram at _ Anthony C. Herrera.
Anthony C. Herrera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
of
can
course.
Follow me at Mejia Photography on Instagram. Also at Combat Sports Collective on Instagram as well. Our up and coming, I guess you could say our business, our company.
So what does Combat Sports Collective do?
We support fighters. We have it's basically like a support system for fighters that need that push, that need that help. It's basically like a turnkey company that allows you to get a fighter who is unknown, get in their strength and conditioning, get in their photography and video, the clothing line behind it, and also help with marketing, media, anywhere we can help, we help.
Sponsorships and stuff like that?
Yep.
You guys see that cat? Oh my God! This cat yesterday had a poster board of sponsors. The dude who got the headbutt on PBC. Did you guys see it? He literally had a poster that must have been this big, and his team was just holding the poster up, and it just had sponsors like their logos like this big across the whole poster, written in like glitter paint. Yeah, it was crazy. Y'all don't do that, right?
No,
I'm just
we
kidding.
don't do that. No.
Oh man! Of course, you can follow me at Beat the Count on Instagram, at Beat the Count on Facebook. Feel free to DM me if there are any topics, guests, anything like that you want me to bring up on the show. We weren't live for this one. There were some problems with the internet connection, but I'll be back. Not next week, because next week I think is Easter,
Easter.
right? Easter's next week? Did I get that right?
Next Sunday.
Easter
Okay,
Sunday, yep.
cool. So we'll be back the week after that. So I'll be live back on YouTube the week after that. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Beat the Count this week.
Just want to give
Thank
a
you
few
to my
shout outs to
guests.
some people.
Yeah, I have some too. So you go first because I have to
Okay.
pull my phone out.
I want to give a big shout out to Combat Sports Collective. I'm looking forward to working with you. This is only the beginning. Steve Olivero is a good friend of mine. Black House Boxing for helping me. I just want to give a big shout out to Legacy One earphones. Those are really good earphones. All my sponsors. My mom and my dad for supporting me since day one. We've been through a lot, and we're just gonna keep going, keep going, keep training hard. Keep working towards the goal. And a big shout out to my coaches, Coach Estrellita, Manuel Robles from Legends Boxing. Happy belated birthday, Manny. Thanks for all you do. Estrellita and Manny, you do a lot for us. It's hard being a fighter, but watching you guys, it's also tough being a coach. So thanks for everything. And all my supporters, everyone who tuned into this podcast, everyone who watched all my fights in the 2019 Western Elite Qualifier, and everyone who's been supporting me since day one. I love you. Thank you guys.
Word, thank you. Anybody for you?
Shout out to Steve Oliveros for coming in and helping us out the way he has. Everybody who supports us, who's gonna buy the merchandise that we're gonna start bringing out, for Beat the Count, for always welcoming us.
Happy to have you guys anytime.
Yeah, UFC Jam, everybody who helps, Pheno Boxing, Supreme Boxing, everybody who lends their hands, to help us out. We really appreciate it. Gloria, Roxy, everybody who helps. Andy, Mark, Erica. You name it. Everybody who helps. Sorry if I forget anybody, but I appreciate all the help from everybody. I just thank you. Yeah.
That was like an Oscar speech. I'm gonna have to play you guys off with the violin.
No, I'm very grateful. No, that's one thing. I'm very grateful to everybody who's had a hand into our success, my success.
Awesome.
Everything that I do and what I want to do.
So I got a couple shout outs myself. The Junior Olympic District Final was today at 11 a.m. Got some shout outs for the kids over at Jackrabbit who are participating in the Junior Olympic District Final. So Ashton Superman Sill, who we've had the opportunity to interview before. Shout out to Ashton. Frederick. I don't want to butcher your name, brother. It looks like Gucci to me, but it's probably Goucher, maybe, like something like that. Goucher, Frederick Goucher. Thank you. I appreciate you. Shout out to you for correcting me on the name. Sincere Brooks, Jonathan Rico, all from Jackrabbit Boxing in Long Beach, and also Kid Navarro, and Daniel Velez for sending me the shout outs. I appreciate it, Daniel. What's that? Steven Navarro. So shout out to you guys participating in the Junior Olympic event today. Best of luck to you, and if you've already participated, well, I hope you've done well. Well wishes to you guys. I appreciate, of course, the two gentlemen on the panel today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
having you
Pleasure to
guys
be
here.
here.
Yeah, man.
Fun.
Excited. And that's it for this week. I'll be back in a couple weeks.
me.
Peace.